Hi guys, it's Chantel with Wildberry Quilting, and today I am going to be kitting up the sweet and spooky stitch along, which I am doing with FQS. So let's get into it. All right guys, so here we are. I am ready to kit up for the spooky and sweet stitch along. So if you are going to be doing this with me, this is a great opportunity to grab a sweet tea or any kind of tea, whatever you want to drink, maybe a coffee if that's your thing, and your threads or flosses, and we can work on this together. So I've got two different erasable pens here, and one of them is just because two of these symbols are kind of similar to each other, so I want to draw them differently. So I'm going to start marking out my symbols on here, and I'm going to make sure that the purple arrow I draw in purple so that I know that the orange arrow I'm actually going to be doing in pink. So I'm going to leave a space between each of these so that I can put my extra floss, my little remnant floss, in between on those empty pegs. And I'm just going through and drawing each of these symbols. And there's that other arrow. Now these arrows are facing in different directions. I just don't necessarily trust myself to notice that when I am going through and stitching it. So I want to be extra cautious. And then we've got our X's here. And a little plus sign. I am so excited for this stitch along. I really am. This is my first one doing with FQS, so it's kind of special. They offered me the opportunity to pick one to work on, and I actually told them I was interested in both a cross stitch pattern and a quilting pattern, but they haven't gotten back to me about the quilting one yet. All right, so now we've got our flosses. We can stick this guy into our little thing. And you know what? I forgot that this is a little bit too long. So I'm going to have to go back here and add in that letter on the end, because this one is just kind of an extra space. Now the great thing about using erasable pens when you're filling out this card is that you can use this card again afterwards. So I've got my purple arrow. Let me find Aunt Marie's violet. And I don't think I even have to cut these ones, these classic color works. I think they might already come pre-cut. So that saves me a little bit of time. Yep, they do. So that I can just stick right onto there. Oh, make sure I put it on the right side. There we go. And I think this is just such a gorgeous color right here. So is this one. These purples, I'll tell you. I think these are going to have to, after I get done with this, if I've run out, I'm going to have to stock some of this into my stash because these are just so pretty. So yeah, FQS gave me the opportunity to do a review, or not a review, do a stitch along with them. And of course, I jumped at that. I was so thrilled. And they told me that I could pick out the flosses that I wanted to use for it. I didn't have to just use the ones that they had picked. So I did end up, I stayed mostly with their recommendations, but I picked a couple of them as DMCs, like the orange required 2 skeins. I think it was the color that they had kitted it for was, or that they charged it for was Ember. And I thought if they're going to be using two full skeins, I want to be able to fly through that one. So I just picked a DMC floss so that I don't have to worry about the color variation, trying to keep the color variation and going just a couple of flosses at a time, or a couple of stitches at a time. I wanted to be able to stitch a lot all at once. And I also traded out the white because I picked out a glow in the dark. I thought that would be super fun for a Halloween stitch along to use glow in the dark floss. And I did still get the white they recommended just in case, because I've heard that glow in the dark floss can be difficult to work with. So I figured I would have a backup in case it was, like, in case I got into it and I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. But my plan is to use that glow in the dark. So that is what I'm going to kit this up with. And I am just too excited. Man, I'm so excited I didn't even put that on the right peg. There we go. But, oh, look at that. Look at those pretty colors. They're so beautiful together. Okay, now, dark orange. Yep, Embers was what they had originally kitted up with. And then I grabbed the DMC just so that I'd be able to breeze through that without having to worry about color variation. But, ooh, this is going to be fun too. It seems so strange working on a Halloween pattern in June. It's not even July yet. But I think it's fantastic to work on it this early because it means that our finished item will be ready for us for Halloween. And I'm excited for that. I'll actually have something that is not being worked on during the season for it. I'll be able to just display it instead. And, you know, I've kind of just been working on whatever's in season or whatever I have already started. Oops, move that guy out of the way. Catching my floss. This is, I feel like I've used a lot of this orangey colored floss because I did that autumn bicycle last October, and that called for a lot of oranges like this. But I don't think it was exactly this color orange. Or maybe it was 721. It might have been. I can't wait to see how they incorporate it in this, though. It's going to be so much fun. I also can't wait to see what part of my pattern is going to be glow in the dark. That is exciting. All right, next we've got tangerine, which is what I got here. Ooh, this is fun. I'd almost call this color sherbet. It looks like a creamsicle. That'd be another good name for it. It's creamsicle. What did I do to my floss here? Oh my gosh. I got it all twisted up here. Let's see if we can figure this out. I don't know what happened when I was pulling that through. Did I manage it? Oh, that wasn't, I don't think that was too bad. Got a little bit of a knot over here. I've got to untangle. But I think for the most part, that resolved itself fairly easily. Oop. Except for that guy. He's got to be the difficult one. Let's see. There we go. Now that's all even again, for the most part. Oh, I'm really liking this color palette so far. Isn't that pretty? All right, next is bean sprout. Okay, so bean sprout was another one that I ended up having to substitute because they have a floss pack for these already put together for you guys so that you can easily just go in and purchase it. But I needed to get mine earlier so that I would be able to kit them up for the video for you. And that floss pack wasn't going to be available in time. So they were out of bean sprout. So I went ahead and just picked up the DMC color for it. But hopefully it won't be too, I'm sure it's still going to look awesome. I was going to say, hopefully it won't be too noticeable that it's not one of the variegateds or like too big of a piece, but I don't think it really matters. I think it's still going to look awesome just the way it is. Even if I couldn't get a hold of that specific color. This is a really pretty color green too. Ooh. I think when I do another stitch along with them, whatever ends up being, I'm thinking I might decide to kit it up with Cosmo flosses because I've really been wanting to try out the Cosmo flosses. And I have a few of them. I don't know. I have like maybe 4 different skeins of it, but not really enough for a whole project unless it's a little bitty project that doesn't require many flosses. And I can just kind of pick what colors I want to use because, it's just whatever colors I happen to have, which I think is like pink, like an aqua-y color, and red. So maybe I have like 3 then. So I really want to do a whole project in Cosmo flosses. I have a feeling I'm going to really love them because they're just, the ones that I have are so soft. And I think that they would be a lot of fun to work with and really nice to handle. And I still have a knot there. What have I done? Man, I kit this stuff up and I have no problems, but then when I try to do it on video, that's when you get knots and stuff. Isn't that always the way though? All right, we got it under control now. Let's go back through. And there we go. I've seen where some people have a board that they wrap their floss around. And I think that would be a pretty good idea because then you can just wrap it around the board as you go. You don't have to kind of do what I'm doing where you have to keep running over the same parts. But honestly, this doesn't take that long and it's kind of relaxing. And I wouldn't want to go back and do the board now because I already have a whole bunch of floss cut to the same length. So if I tried doing the board, I think I'd end up with a whole bunch of flosses that were different lengths, and I don't really want to do that. All right, so next we need our light green. And this is another one that's already pre-cut for us. Make sure I don't end up putting a knot into it like I did the last time I pulled one of these off. That's a really pretty green too. I love this color palette that they've picked out. It's like candy. Doesn't it look like candy? I mean, like, it has a Halloween feel to it too because of the oranges and the greens, but it's also so soft and fun. I love it. All right, next we've got, that was Frog Legs. I love the name. Black Coffee is next. Here we go. And this is kind of like a really dark gray kind of a color. It's pretty cool actually. Oh, let's get it in the camera. Yeah, I was actually, when I'd seen Black Coffee as the name, I was kind of thinking, is that going to be like a really dark brown or something? But it's not. It's like a really dark gray. It's more like a dark charcoal or something. All right, then we have gray, just gray. And, oh, Plymouth. There we go. Plymouth Rock. There we go. Guess I must have accidentally picked up the gray too. I was probably trying to decide which one to get and put them both in my cart to compare, and then I forgot to take the gray out. I'm guessing that's what I did. All right, so this one, nope, we needed it on the T. That's right, because we switched the positions of those when I put it on the end. All right, and now I've got my glow in the dark, and this definitely has a different texture to it than the other DMC flosses. Oops, this one's a DMC. Which I'll say, the Classic Colorworks does feel softer than the DMC. A little bit. Not as much so as what the Cosmo does though. That one feels really soft. Wow. Okay, now it feels even more different that I've pulled it out of here. This is gonna be interesting. I don't even know what side to unravel it from anymore. I think it was this one. Oh, goodness gracious. I think I can see where some people might say this one would be difficult to work with. I hope it's not, though. I mean, it's got to be better than metallic threads, right? I recently journeyed into some metallic threads when I was trying to work out how I want my signature to be on the different projects that I finish. And I very quickly learned that metallic threads are no joke. And I definitely would rather do those with a single strand of floss instead of two, because wow, trying to do two strands of metallic floss is tricky. All right. Ooh, I'm so excited to use glow in the dark floss though. This is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see how this turns out. And yeah, I was kind of hoping that they would have glow in the dark as different colors, like multiple different options for glow in the dark. Like you could get an orange glow in the dark. I thought that would be fun, but all I was able to find was the white and glow in the dark. So that's what I got. Figured some is better than none, so that's what I'm going with. And this one goes under the circle one. Here we go. So now I'm just going to, that's going to be tough to break because I don't really have a third one over here. I probably should have planned that out better. But I'll just take a little bit from both of them, I guess, and like do it that way. So here we go. There go my kids trying to come in. I sent them all out with snacks, and I think they're coming back in for more. They could eat all day long, I think. They do eat all day long. Oh my goodness. What did I do to my braid there? I'm not sure if I just did that wrong because I got distracted, or if it just looks kind of wonky because of the floss. Like it didn't want to cooperate or something. All right, so that's probably the most difficult floss to braid because there was only such a small amount. Now we can do these ones. I'm just gonna divide them into two groups here. And I'll go base like this because these are smaller amounts of floss. So I'm going to use that as one. And then we will braid the DMCs as their own strand. There we go. Sometimes I think it's easier just to lay it on the table and do it that way. This big kink here though. There we go. Try and get that to lay straighter. My kids are amazed anytime I braid my hair because with my curls, I don't have to ever use anything to hold it in. I don't need a scrunchie or a hair tie or anything. I can just braid my hair and it just stays. And, you know, it'll just stay forever that way until I pull it out. But my kids inherited those other Native American hair genes, the straight ones, and they definitely, you know, they'll try to put a braid in their hair and it'll just fall right out like it's nothing. They have to have a hair tie, and even with a hair tie, it'll like slide its way out. I thought for sure when I had kids that they would end up with curly hair like mine. Because, you know, usually the curly hair is the dominant gene, but apparently not in our family. My husband's hair is like straight as can possibly be. There's not even a hint of a wave to it. So it completely just ran over the curly hair genes. And we've got a couple of kids who have like a very slight wave, and that is it. I did not get to pass that along, sadly. All right, so these are all braided up, and I've got my sheet in here. And as those are released, I will print off the other sheets. Now, this is a free sew along or stitch along, and Fat Quarter Shop is just going to release these, I believe, weekly throughout June. So you'll just go on there and print out the new, let me turn that around that way, print out the new papers for the stitch along each week, and we will meet back here and work on it together. Oh, and yes, I had to make a new project bag, Halloween project bag, just for this. I was sitting there stitching it all up earlier today just so I would have it for this because I really wanted to have something special for it. So I've also got my fabric here, and this is the charcoal dyed effect from, I think it's Fabric Flare, and I should say it on here actually. Charcoal dyed effect 14 count Ada by Fabric Flare. Now I did get mine as 16 count because I've discovered that I really enjoy stitching on 16 count, and I wanted to do that instead. So I'm going to stick that in my project bag along with my now kitted up floss, and got my little stitchy scissors. I'm going to put those in there. I've got my beeswax. I'm going to put that in there. And I have my needle minder, my spooky and sweet needle minder. So that is to go along with this project, and Fat Quarter Shop does have those on there as well. So I'm going to put that in there, and I think I'm going to put a pen in there too, just in case I need it to mark my chart as I go. And then I've got my extra flosses. This is my backup, just in case the glow in the dark doesn't work out. And then this is my second skein of orange. I'm going to put those in there as well. And this is now all kitted up and ready to go for June. And I am so excited for this. Now, something else you can do is you can take these little cards that your Classic Colorworks or whatever your fancy flosses were, and stick them in your project bag as well, just so you can kind of keep track of what they were. Or so at the end of this, if you have any left, you can put them back on there in case that's how you want to store them. And I'm just going to stick mine in there so that I have a record of what each of those were. Thank you so much for joining me while I kitted this up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do enjoy watching me kit things up for cross stitch, let me know in the comments, like this video, and maybe I will do this again for some other cross stitch charts that I am kitting together. Don't forget that I am a Fat Quarter Shop affiliate, so I will put my affiliate link in the description box below. I greatly appreciate it if you click over using that. It really helps me out, and then I can get more stuff to share with you guys on the channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye!